Never. Never. Anyways. Welcome back. Welcome back, you guys. We are so excited you are here.
Bitch, we're 5 episodes away from fucking 50.
Hey!
Like, what?
I'm so excited.
So wild.
And I'm fucking pumped, dude, because I didn't fucking realize when we were like weeks ago, we were talking she's an air traffic controller. Hey, watch the YouTube and you'll fucking know what I'm talking about. Bam, bam, bam. Weeks ago, that was a little bit of Spider-Man, but anyways, okay, for the 14th time.
I can focus.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited. Weeks ago, we talked. Oh no.
You're paused, but I can hear you. Just keep going.
Okay, weeks ago. I'm just gonna keep saying weeks ago. We talked about doing something big for our podiversary.
Yes.
And our podiversary falls on a masterclass day.
Yes.
I never put 2 and 2 together until like earlier this week because, my brain. But how exciting is that? So that's what I got excited about. That's it. That's it. That's the whole story. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 45.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye. Oh, my Lanta. So today, I'm so excited because we are doing Cognitive Errors 2.0. 2.0.
And why are we doing this episode?
Because it's the fucking GOAT. This episode was the most listened. Well, the first one.
Aside from Meet Steph and Mari, I think it was the highest listened to episode. I think people got a lot of value out of it and listened to it multiple times because it was a step-by-step thing.
Yes, and I redirect clients that I meet with to come listen to it because when I talk about cognitive errors, I'm like, hey, if you want to message me, we'll talk about it. But also we have this podcast and it walks through it again. So it's something that you can listen to that's tangible, that you can walk through maybe what you're experiencing right in line with what we're doing.
Yep.
So we thought we would do another one and we would do just a different cognitive error, a different thing that shows up. And we have an example in mind that we want to walk through, but if something comes up, we can also walk through another one because I think cognitive errors and changing the way that you think about a situation that is happening allows you to change the emotions that you're experiencing about the situation that is happening. So that is my jam. And I'm so excited to do this one again. So let's discuss. Let's set the scene.
Oh, I didn't know that we were going to be doing a visualization with us.
Oh, we are. We are. And you know what just came into my mind with that?
What?
Do you remember Romeo and Juliet? Was it 1999 with Leonardo DiCaprio?
I never watched it, but yes. I fucking hate Shakespeare, bro. I can say with my soul that I hate Shakespeare. I'm sorry. Is this going to end our friendship?
No, I'm not. It's not like I'm some fucking theater nerd. Oh my gosh, that was a judgment.
CJ is going to hate you now, by the way. So
I love you so much, CJ. You're so pretty. Don't hate me. I love you.
Uh-oh, you have no sound. Hold on. And we're back.
Anyways, I feel like CJ and I would be unstoppable. But he's a Scorpio.
No,
right?
He's a Libra, like your sister.
Oh!
Shares your sister's birthday, you idiot.
Oh, you have to be so judgmental. First of all,
we've been best friends for 7 years. You should know
that
siblings have the same birthday.
Hey, here's the thing. Bug and CJ look identical. It's sometimes hard to keep birthdays apart, okay? He's literally a spitting fucking image.
It's true.
So,
and yes, your nephew is a Scorpio.
Oh my God. Me and CJ are unstoppable. I love you, CJ. Anyways. So I don't even know how we go. Oh, it's Shakespeare. I was like, how do we even fucking
Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, it's not like whatever, Shakespeare. Sure. Like I'm sure he contributed to.
I'm sure he did really cool things in the English world. I don't know.
I'm sure there was lots of great things that came out of whatever he did. But anyways, I'm talking about Romeo and Juliet. the movie
with Claire Danes and
Leo DiCaprio. I think in 1999.
Yeah, it was
because my mom forced my sister to bring me to the movie theater, and I was like, I don't get what's going on, Tara, and she was like, you're talking through the whole movie. But when I said we set the scene, like that was like in Fair Verona, where and then it goes into like the whole play. You have to watch it. Period. Like we're watching it on Sunday.
I'm never watching that.
We're watching it on Sunday. We're watching it on Sunday at your house.
Why don't we just throw Titanic in the mix while we're at it?
When we're doing our training. Well, we can do that too, and we can also reenact the Titanic. On TikTok, it's not that one. What is it? It's Celine Dion, one of Celine Dion's songs.
Oh, yeah, her song is like everywhere because it's on Reels too.
So we'll do that too.
And like have the blow dryer going while we're singing.
Jeff has a leaf blower. We're done. We'll do it. Oh my gosh, I have my green dress from prom. I'll wear that. Done.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm so excited. Anyways, okay, we have to fucking get to it because
back to the episode, ladies.
Because my brain is shutting off at 25 minutes. So. Okay, cognitive errors 2.0.
Okay, so the scene would be: I'm getting home from work. I'm exhausted. I'm drained, feeling burnt out. Work has been very stressful, and my partner seems to be needing something from me, and I don't feel like I can give to them. So the cognitive error comes up of I'm not a good enough partner because I don't have the ability to hold space for them when I get home from work because work is just too much.
You made it a little too therapist-y. Okay. I'm an unsupportive partner because I'm overwhelmed with work.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. What emotions are coming up for you?
Sadness, anxiety. I would say inadequacy, but that's not really an emotion.
It's a feeling.
I guess I feel inadequate.
Yeah.
Shame. And maybe a little bit of frustration.
I feel like this podcast is all over the place. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I should have numbered the steps. So I'm just going to go back real quick. When I asked Stephanie, so the first cognitive errors episode that we aired, there's a 7-step process to challenging cognitive errors. So when I asked Stephanie to start, so setting the scene is step 1. So then asking her about her emotions that are coming up is step 2. So step 2, sadness, anxiety, inadequacy, frustration, shame. So I need you to rate those from 0 to 10. They do not have to equal 10. You can experience them all at 10 or all at 5 or whatever it is for you. So let's start with sadness. What do you experience that at?
Probably like an 8.
Okay. Anxiety?
Probably the same.
Inadequacy?
Like a 10.
Shame?
10.
Frustration?
I probably like mid-range. So probably like a 5.
Okay. So then when Steph and I identified her cognitive error, I'm an unsupportive partner because I'm overwhelmed with work. That's step 3. That is what cognitive error is showing up for you. What negative automatic thought are you thinking? Okay. I'm running out of paper. I like to write these down when I do them, guys. Because the importance of writing them down, please hear me when I say this, the importance of writing them down is so that one, when you first put that cognitive error on paper, you can possibly see how, I don't want to say, I feel like ridiculous is a harsh word, or I feel like
emotionally charged.
Right. How emotionally charged it can be, right? Because sometimes the cognitive errors that pop up for us are like, well, I'm a terrible partner. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, what? Or like, I'm a terrible parent, or I'm a blah, 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 blah.
I'm
like,
a bad person. I'm a shit person.
Right. Yeah. Right. I'm a shit person. You can immediately challenge that once you start to see it on paper, but that's the importance of this, writing this down. So again, the cognitive error, I'm an unsupportive partner because I'm overwhelmed with work. Stephanie, give me facts that prove that that's true.
I don't ask my partner how their day was.
How does that factually prove that you are an unsupportive partner?
Because I'm not, like, I feel like I can't, I would use the term hold space for them, right? So I feel like because I'm not asking, like, how's your day? Are you okay? What went good? What went bad? that shows that I'm not being supportive of them. That's how I feel.
I'm so glad you said that statement.
I know.
You feel like that.
Yes.
But at the end, and if you go listen to our cognitive errors episode, feelings are not facts. So factually, how do you prove that you are an unsupportive partner?
My partner has told me they don't feel like they can talk to me.
Okay. Okay. Any other facts?
Not that I can think of right now.
Okay. So can you give me times, situations, and examples that prove your cognitive error, I'm an unsupportive partner because I'm overwhelmed with work, isn't true 100% of the time?
So this is where I can get kind of tripped up with this kind of stuff, right? Because like being supportive is a subjective thing, right? Like everybody interprets that differently.
Mhm.
So in my mind, I show support by caring for our child, going to work, keeping the house in order, right? Like that's how I show support, but I can't control whether or not that person. Okay.
You're going to therapy. You're doing too much for therapy wise, because yes, you're exploring it from the opposite side perspective, but most of our clients do not do that.
Sure.
So bonus points to you for going to the opposite side and recognizing the ambivalence, right? But so go back to the points that you think that you internalize.
How I show support.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel like the energy is off or like something is wrong, I will sometimes ask if they're okay, or like I'll say, how was work? Or if they message me that something stressful happened, I do my best to follow up, whether it's just to offer to listen or, you know, kind of give a validating statement back.
Okay. So when we're breaking down cognitive errors, again, the negative automatic thought or the cognitive error is step 3. Step 4 is give me facts that prove that that's true. Step 5 is time, situations, or examples that prove your negative thought isn't true 100% of the time. So the time, situations, examples. So for facts, we have my partner has told me they don't feel like they can talk to me, which is a factual statement. They're factually telling you like, this is how I feel, right?
Yes.
And so we can argue feelings are not facts, but realistically, that's what that person is telling me. That is their perception of the situation. And my perception of the situation is that I care for our child. I go to work. I ask if they're okay. I follow up on things that they discuss, and I try to attempt to offer validation or support. So because we've looked at 4 and 5, so steps for our negative thought and steps against our negative thought, it's balanced. We have one negative, we have one fact that proves it true, that our partner has said this, but we have all of these other time, situations, examples that prove that that thought isn't true 100% of the time. So how do we come up with a more balanced thought that isn't as polarizing as I'm unsupportive because I'm overwhelmed with work?
So if I were to reword that, reframe it, I'm not sure which verbiage.
Both work.
Oh, okay. I would say sometimes it's difficult for me to be supportive when I'm overwhelmed. Right. So it's not such a drastic change where I'm like, I am always fucking supportive and things are always great. Right. Because our brains don't work like that. There are times that I struggle to be supportive. That's true. And now that I've recognized that, that's where the change can happen.
Give me 1 second because I'm attempting to think of another one. My reworked thought, looking at this, I liked your reworked thought. It falls into my categories of it cannot be about somebody else. It cannot be an automatic flipped thought, and it cannot be an action-oriented statement.
Okay.
That it cannot be those things. We're not adding another thing to our fucking plate. We're not making it about somebody else because it's not about somebody else. And we're not just automatically creating this toxic positivity of like, everything's good. Like, no, it's not. Because I'm overwhelmed with work. Sometimes it's difficult to be supportive when I'm overwhelmed. I take care of me first before pouring into others. I prioritize my life as it supports me. I am one person. I am one person. I honestly feel like that last one is so fitting too for the situation that we are in. I feel like so many people are being pulled in so many different directions in their jobs and being asked to do so many different things, right? To pick up different slacks. Like I have so many teachers and so many different nurse friends and clients who are being asked to do so much. And they're internalizing not being able to get to all of these different things that they are supposed to, and that's air quotes of supposed to, these things that they're supposed to do, when in reality you can't do everything. You are one person. You're not, it's not feasible for you to do all these other jobs. So I am one person is to me a completely healthy, balanced thought. Like we don't need to add more to that, period. You are one person, not meant to do 3 or 4 other jobs. So when we're looking at this, these reworked thoughts, to follow it up before I go to a step further, these reworked thoughts, the first negative thought, automatic negative thought, I am an unsupportive partner because I'm overwhelmed with work. Here are some of the reworked thoughts. Sometimes it's difficult to be supportive when I'm overwhelmed. I take care of me first before pouring into others. I prioritize my life as it supports me. I am one person. When you think or hear those thoughts, let's reflect on those emotions from before. So those emotions from before are sadness, 8, anxiety, 8, inadequacy, 10, shame, 10, and frustration, 5. So first I'm going to ask you to re-rate those emotions. Do they change at all? Do they increase? Do they decrease? Do they stay the same? We'll start with sadness.
Am I rating it on one statement or all of them? Because if I'm being honest, there are some statements where some of the emotions still stay the same.
I want you to pick the statement that feels best to you, because when I'm doing this with clients, I do try to give multiple statements and I want them to pick the one that feels best for them, because what feels good for me isn't what's going to feel good for them. So whatever one feels good for you. So pick that one. Do you want me to go through them again?
No, I think I would just pick the first one that I did because I feel like it encompasses more than just being overwhelmed with work, because I can be overwhelmed with life in general.
Yes.
And then it can be hard to show up for other people.
Yes. So choose that one.
Yeah.
And then when you think about sadness, does it stay at an 8 or does it change?
No, I think that goes down to probably like a 5.
Okay. Anxiety.
I would also probably rate that at like a 5.
Inadequacy.
I think that one goes down pretty substantially to maybe like a 3.
Okay. Shame.
I feel shame could still be kind of up there, maybe like a 6, because I think that comes down to like my perfectionism too, of like, I'm still not doing enough. Right.
Yeah. Frustration.
Oh, Zeus.
I know. I was like, just ignore him.
Probably keep moving. Significantly lower, like down to like a 3.
Okay. Do any new emotions come up for you?
I would say that that statement feels more validating in recognizing that I am a human and that I'm allowed to feel overwhelmed, but I'm also recognizing that if there's parts where I'm lacking, like I can recognize that, right? So it feels validating to know, okay, well, I've acknowledged that this is what happens when I get overwhelmed, but I'm also acknowledging that I get overwhelmed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So validation shows up.
Yeah.
What would you rate that?
Probably like a 7.
Okay. Any other things? Any other emotions that show up?
No.
Okay. So the goal with re-rating these emotions isn't to go from like how she had inadequacy and shame at a 10 for them to go to 0. Like, you're a human still having a human experience. You're still going to feel some of these emotions. The goal is to bring them down a little bit to increase that quality of life, right? And so the next thing I wanted to talk about, the caveat of when we have so the box 4, when they're facts that prove my negative thought is true. So when we have facts that prove that it's true, a lot of clients can take this from a shame standpoint of this is a point to self-sabotage and shame myself, right? So my partners told me that they don't feel that they can talk to me. Okay, that's not a point of shame for you to sit here and rake yourselves across the coals. That's a point to look at your life and say, okay, this is something my partner has expressed. How can I meet them where they're at? Or how can we have a discussion about how this just isn't feasible for me, right? So this could also tie into love languages. So this partner's love language could be, okay, I don't feel like you're showing up for me. Or I don't feel like I can talk to you. So maybe their love language is words of affirmation or quality time. And with you being somebody, okay, so say like our nurses who are working literally like fucking 16-hour days, I don't have quality time for you.
Yep.
Half of the time that I have off of that 16-hour shift is for me to sleep and to take care of children and or household and or pets and or just myself. Because realistically, like 16/8, like it's not giving you a lot of time. Like that's also what shows up. So that isn't a point to sit here and just be like, you know what? Yeah, that's so true. And I'm going to make myself feel bad about that. That's just a point. That's a jumping off point of like, okay, this might be where I need to do the work and, or this is where we need to focus communication. So like do the work of like, okay, maybe I need to expound on the fact, okay, maybe I'm not a nurse. Maybe I'm not somebody who's working 16-hour days. So my partner doesn't feel like they can talk to me. Let's explore that. What does that look like? Yes. Or if it's that this is my partner's love language and I'm not fluent in that love language, how can we come together to create actionable steps for me to show up for them and also then for them to meet me at my love language? Because maybe my love language isn't being met and we're not talking about that because it's unknown.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you don't put it on paper, you don't necessarily realize those things until it's on paper and you see it and you're like, oh shit. Again, the purpose of writing it down is for you to be able to start to make some of these connections. And again, I want to reiterate, the reworked thought is never going to be an action step about somebody else or an automatic flipped thought. You have to come to what feels best for you. So Steph made one that feels good for her. And then I offered a couple other. If they don't fit with you, if they don't resonate, don't take them. Pick what fits with you and what speaks to you and what feels like it validates you, because that's the importance of also writing it down and doing this. It's creating that validation for yourself, the internal validation that we talk about so much in this podcast, that is building those stepping stones to self-confidence, trusting yourself, intuition, all of those things. Internal validation is huge. So hopefully working through this has helped. Do you feel like, Steph, has anything come up like where you've thought of another cognitive error? You've thought of like other Zeus. You have food and water. What is your problem? Anyways. You're rude. Have you thought of any other like cognitive errors that maybe have come up? I'm trying to think of one right now too that we could potentially work through.
I was going to say no, not off the top of my head.
I'll do one that has shown up in my life recently, and it's a super easy one, and not one that has really stuck so much, but one that comes up that I'm like, what? And I can challenge in my head, but that, please hear me when I say that I can challenge it in my head, it's because I challenge cognitive errors with clients literally day in, day out, like 5 to 7 hours a day. I'm doing these in sessions almost every day. So one that came up for me. So my dad and my stepmom are snowbirds. They have last year, recently, my dad bought an RV, like the one that you drive, like the big one. And like a Winnebago is what they used to be in like in the 90s. And maybe it is a Winnebago, whatever, it doesn't matter. So they drive down to Florida. And so my dad has rental properties. He's a landlord. So he wanted me to be his manager, air quotes, manager of making sure that his rental properties are taken care of or shoveled or rent is being collected, those things, right? So he had stated, okay, I need to put a 5-day eviction notice on a door. And so I was super busy. And so all of these cognitive errors started showing up of like, I'm not showing up for my dad. I'm not being a good manager. I'm not doing all these things, like blah, 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 blah. All of them swirling in my head because I just didn't have enough time. And because I was also missing a piece. So the cognitive error is I'm not doing enough to show up for my dad, but you could even shorten it down to I'm not doing enough. So facts that prove that that's true. None. I don't have any facts that prove that that's true. I called my dad to reach out to him because he said he was going to text me how to do the form and he didn't. So then I called and my stepmom was like, oh, he's blah, blah, blah. I'll have him call you. He never called me. And then I called him. And when I called him, he was on his way to Tampa. So he couldn't tell me how to do it. So I don't have any facts. There's 3 opportunities, which then go into step 5. So time, situations, examples that prove my negative thought isn't true. I reached out 3 times and tried to do this thing. Then when I spoke to my dad finally on the phone for, I don't know, the 4th or 5th time, he was like, it's not that big of a deal, like blah, 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 blah. And like was explaining it away. So like the person is telling me it's not that big of a deal.
Sure.
So then I must come up with a more balanced thought. And so then the little like funny slogan I was telling him is like, a manager is only as good as their boss, Dad. And so he kind of got a kick out of that because he's sitting here telling me I'm his manager, or I'm going to be the manager and he would theoretically be my boss.
Sure.
But realistically, I am only in control of myself. I cannot control other people's actions. That's the reworked thought. I can't sit here. I'm not going to sit here and chase or beg or whatever for him to give me XYZ to be able to do XYZ for him. If he wants it done, he will let me know. And then at that time, I can say whether or not I'm capable of doing what he's asking of me. But if he's not doing that, then it is what it is.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I could go through the emotions that were showing up for that. So like emotions, frustration, irritation, inadequacy for sure. I think honestly that's it, because it was a very, I don't want to say lighthearted, but it was a very like light one that I could challenge in my head.
Sure.
But like inadequacy, shame, and what was the other one I said? Frustration. All of frustration, they would probably all hover at like maybe like a 5 in this situation, but frustration goes down to 0 because he himself said it's not a big deal. Okay, if you say it's not a big deal, it's cleared off my plate. Yep. Inadequacy probably goes to like a 1 because it's my dad and I still want to show up for him. And then what? Inadequacy, frustration, and what else?
Irritation.
That's still probably like a 1 because like I'm busy. So,
right. I was just to say, just the sheer fact of having to do all that shit.
Get your shit on the fucking table and like send me the damn instructions, because this probably will not be the first or the last by May that I have to do. So like give me the instructions because it's going to be way easier for me. So still probably a 1. So I hope that us reworking these cognitive errors, mainly the main one that Steph and I reworked, but then also kind of the second one, have helped shine a light again on how to work these 7 steps to be able to come to a more neutral thought process. So again, I think the first episode does a really good job of laying out the cognitive errors or cognitive distortions that people can experience. It talks about the 7 steps and how to work through them. This was just mainly to run through them again to help people understand like how we challenge them and the importance of writing it down. It is so important to write it down. Your brain is like the best computer you could ever imagine, right? We experience 60,000 to 120,000 thoughts a day. Your brain is moving. If we are not writing it down, we are not solely focusing and creating that mindful moment and being able to really deconstruct that negative thought. We are thinking of all of these irrational, yes, but we're not at the moment thinking they're irrational because it's in our head. So if we're not putting it onto paper, it doesn't feel irrational. Once you put it onto paper, it's kind of like, oh, that doesn't necessarily make sense. So that's the importance of writing this down so you can see it written out. And also because the cognitive distortions that you operate in, like for me, feelings are not facts is one of my favorites. That's the one that comes up for me the most. Most of the time when I rework the thought, I can usually take that reworked thought and apply it to other cognitive errors. So that's the importance. Keep a running log of these things. So if there are any questions or concerns, please reach out to Steph or I. Steph is at SpookyFitMom13, right? Okay. Let's talk about that for a second. I was SpookyFitMom13 on Instagram. I am at BEA_XO11. We are at Rewriting Her Story Podcast on Instagram and YouTube. You can email us at rewritingherstorypodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear any thoughts that you have about these podcasts. And also if you have any topics that you want covered, we would love to cover them. I feel like that sums it up.
Absolutely.
And I'm 6 minutes past, or a minute past my brain expiring. So I fucking did it, dude.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yes. Okay. We love you all. If you need anything, we're here for you. Okay, we're here. Goodbye.
Bye.